Now I've got the Kibri kit, the ballast, specialist ballast wagon, which looks like that. And these link together in like a long train of wagons, in prototypically, and they pick up the gravel and carry it along. I think it gets cleaned, etc. I'm not sure exactly how they work, to tell you the truth. But anyway, so I'm going to start building this, open the box up, get the instructions. Instructions come in like A4 sheets in landscape mode, and you get a checklist of all the stuff on it, and should be able to find page 1, or where you start is figure 1. Build 2 bogies, the chassis, put in the weight and all the other little details. Hopefully that shouldn't take too long. And then it tells you on the reverse side, which is quite handy, it tells you all the part numbers and everything on there. I'm not sure if that's on every sheet. Have a quick look. Oh no, that's just the full parts listing for the entire kit, I think. So yeah, we'll have a look at this and get this going. To build it, I'm using Citadel cutters. These are really nice cutters. I've had them for a few years now. They're great for getting sprues off and cutting, nice neat edges. Really nice. And I'm using a pair of tweezers. I'm using an Offler knife with Japanese blades at a 30-degree angle. These blades are absolutely brilliant. I use them all the time at work for carving. Marble filler, etc., and loads of other different specialist fillers. And you can get into all little tight areas with that 30-degree angle. Plus the flex, you can use them in right out like that, and the flexible and the strong. I'm going to be using one of them, and I'm using the glue I'm using is just standard professional contact glue. The one that we've used for many years. And the Roco wheel sets, there are other wheel sets you can get, but these are the exact size for this wagon. So I've got 4 packets of these. So that's it, we'll start building. I've just built the bogies, the frames, and just install the brake pads. They all go together very nice castings. You've got to make sure you keep these 4 plugs, you don't lose them, because when you put these on top, which hold the 2 sets of bogies together, they're like caps that lock these in place, and you don't glue them either. No glue required for that bit, but up to now that's gone together very nice, very straightforward. Right, so we've built the actual bogie sections with the chassis for the bogies, and those little tiny caps just pop on there, you don't glue them whatever you do, so they've got plenty of movement there. So that's straightforward. It's got 2 sets of them for either end of the wagon, so that's that part done. So the next part is putting the detail on this chassis, I think, and then putting the weight inside. And yeah, I'll have a look at that next. The next stage is putting on the an M pocket coupling system. It's got a little peg that goes in, and it's sort of a 2-stage diameter on that tiny peg. And you push it in halfway and it engages, but it's really tricky to do. You can see on that one it's in there. See it there, flush with the top. But you really need something like a nail punch or something round to push that in square, and it's really tricky to do that bit. It's got to take your time, but that's it completed on that one. Hard to see at the moment. Right, day number 2. and I'm just taking my time building it because I've been at work today, so just doing another hour on it. I got the chassis ready, got the metal weight ready to go in. I plucked off all the parts, all the bits that are ready to be glued onto this chassis. I've put in a little container. This is what I normally do, so you don't lose them. And I put all the part sprues on a brightly coloured backing as well. It makes it easier to see. Plus, it's nice to have pretty decent lighting as well when you're doing this. I've got my desktop powerful light there, and I've got other lights looking down in various angles. I've not got the main attic lights on, but anyway, that's the next bit. Right, so that's all the little details stuck on, all straightforward. They all go into the slots nicely. Little details there, and then there's one which you just push in, you don't glue. That swivels around, this one here for the conveyor belt thing. Stick that one on the top there, that bar. The bogies, I've had the brake hand applications stuck on both sides, and that's ready to go together, but I think we need to stick in, it's saying glue in the plate according to the instructions. Yeah, so I'll have a look, see what to do next now. Right, I'm coming up to finishing stage 1 and 2 off, which I've got on the clipboard there, and it says to stick the metal part 21 onto the chassis with glue, but it doesn't say what type of glue. So in my case I'm going to use Power Bond, extra long life. I'm going to use some of this, but before I use it I'm going to have to glue it on these strutted areas all along to make sure it's got a good fixing. But before I do that, I'm just going to pick a side. This is what keeps the chassis straight, because that casting has got a bend on it. If you can see it in the picture. But I'm going to key up this with some light sandpaper so the glue sticks. This is I think this is 150 grit, I can't remember now. Just key up that. But give it a bit of a clean off. That's enough. And then just wipe it down with a bit of cloth or whatever, acetone, anything, thinners. You see that coming off there. Probably better off using some thinners on it actually. I think this is acrylic thinner. Doesn't matter what it is, as long as it can degrease it. You see all that rubbish coming off there now. Let's let that dry off for a minute. That'll do. Right. And what I'm going to do is carefully, obviously shake that up, which has been shook. Carefully open the lid on this stuff is really powerful. This is industrial strength. Put that in there. Make sure I don't get. If you get this on the worktop or plastics, it'll wreck it, because it completely melts plastics. This big time, and it's a much stronger glue than something like the polystyrene plastic glue. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to trail some of that glue using an earbud. I'm just going to trail some of the glue across these areas all along here where it goes. Just got to be a bit careful. That looks okay, and then I'm just going to carefully position that metal correct way up on there. That straightens up the chassis. Just make sure it's in properly. And what I'm going to do then, this should work. I'm probably going to put a weight on top of that. Probably use a bit of tape, but I have these steel blocks, solid steel blocks. I use these at work, putting pressure on items where, rather than clamping it on a floor, say, I'll use those steel blocks. That all looks good. I'll leave that to dry. Right, so while that's saying, I'm just going to take out a packet of these Roco wheels, see what these are like. I'm hoping I've picked the right ones. Yeah, they're insulated. Imagine if I bought these in 3-rail. That would have been not nice. I'm just going to mount these. Let's see how these mount. Mount these to yeah. Actually, these don't really fit. I've got them in wrong. That's not going in right at all. They go in right, but they're not turning. Bizarre. Let's try another set. They're a very tight fit. Very, very tight. Oh, that one's gone in alright. That one, I think the brakes are catching. Right, there's a critical part of doing this kit. If you haven't got these in right, then the wagon just will not work. What you got to do is make sure they're free, smoothly running and spinning. And it's best to put the brake shoes on after you install the wheel sets, so you can line them up properly, and also to make sure, see this, the rolling smoothly like that, as you can see there. The set that isn't working good, just bear with me, I've been testing it somewhere else on the actual layout. Right, the set that's not working is this one, and you can see actually that's not too bad, but it's still not good enough. That one's okay, but if the wheels are not moving freely enough, what you've got to do is take the wheels out and just carefully use a needle file, a circular one or a flat pointed one, just to take off the plastic that's binding slightly on the brake shoe, because they're really, really tight. Very, very realistic brake linings, the way they're lined up with the wheels on these wheels. The wheels you get with it are slightly smaller. In fact, yeah, they're completely different. These don't fit in well at all, these wheels. I think these are just meant for display, these black ones that you get with it, because next to, they're really no good. You've got to have these wheel sets for it to work properly, the wagon. So anyway, what I'm going to do next is just manipulate this set and then put these onto the chassis, which is nearly dried. Right, so we've got these working perfect now. They should roll, and these are not even oiled. Once these are oiled, these will work even better. So that's how they should be. And it just takes a bit of careful manipulation on them brake pads to line them up properly. Right, so the next stage is turn the wagon upside down. Once that has dried and it seems to be straight enough anyway. So what I'm going to do now, turn these around the correct way, place them over, and it's just really simple. Cap, it's got a chamfer on it, you just push that over the top so it clicks, and that is it. Easily maintainable, so you can pull that off. Plus that doubles up as the display box mounting screw there as well. Making sure you've got the couplings at the right end. Dead easy, actually this part's really nice to do. Let's have a look. I don't think there's a massive big deal, but there's a recess on these caps. There's a raised area on the top for it to move around, and a recessed area, obviously, so you've got to make sure you put them on right. That's correct. So now I've got the main part of the wagon built. Just do a test run. It's alright that anyway. Move that aside, straighten the wheels. Yeah, that's good enough. When that's all oiled up and everything, that'll be fine. So that's done. That's the main part. Parts 1 and 2 done. Right, next stage is stage 3, which is just making this conveyor belt swing mechanism. So 22, 23, 24 parts, so that's pretty easy. There's one of them. There is the other one. In fact, there's the other parts in completion. So I'll just cut them off. That's it, cut them off and glue them together. Right, just going to glue these on. Very easy this bit. Very easy part. Conveyor belt. Rubber conveyor. Actually, that looks quite. That looks really good. It actually does look like a rubber conveyor belt because it wraps right around on the edges really seamlessly. That was really cool. I like that. So that's that done. That was very quick. I've got some detailing parts to put on next on the main frame, but first of all I'm going to build the cab, and that just consists of 1, 2, 3, 4, about 4 or 5 pieces there, so I'll just do that now. Right, so there's the cab. You just got to remember to place the seats facing backwards on the cab, which is unusual, because obviously they're controlling and working the conveyor belts on the lead vehicle. The other thing I've got ready for going on is these two sections here, and part 4 we've done. Part 5 is assembling the conveyor belt and some other accessories on this section here, then you know, adding other details on. But what really got me was the conveyor belt. You get 2 long strips. I had to think about this. So when you join these 2 together, you've got to place this conveyor belt underneath, obviously, underneath the wagon. That goes on the underside, and then this one goes on the inside on the top and joins up. That had me puzzled for a while. I just couldn't suss it out. It sounds stupid, but it just had me totally puzzled. But anyway, that's what I'm going to do next, is join those up. Right, the next part in putting the conveyor belt on is really, really tricky. You've got to make sure it's absolutely 100% precisely fit along the bottom here. You've got to make sure at this end you get it as snug as possible backwards here. Then you've got to assemble it, the lower and the top section, make sure it's all snug, and then pre-glue it all, and then slide this end into the other end, upper and lower sections of the conveyor belt. It lines up perfect, 100% perfect. And you've got to do it, because I've made a mistake on it and it didn't fit this end quite right, and I had to take it apart again. Luckily enough, this knife extends right out, and you can get the blades, you can get the blade even longer than that on a new one, and you can get right in and cut away the glue on the inside. It's just, this is what's so good about this knife. It's really good, and it doesn't break as well when you're doing stuff like that. And that's the finished item. So now I can start putting the extra details on this now. But what's dodgy, you got to make sure you press it down going through these individual bars, because these are all pre-cast. So it is a really, really tricky item, that, to put together without making a mess of it. So I'm going to put on the cab now. I just really want to get a guy inside here, but I've got no suitable people before I glue that on. It's such a unique wagon, this. It really is an amazing kit once you suss out how it all goes together. It's really, in fact, I'm quite enjoying this, because I've not built a kit for ages. And that weight there is really good for reinforcing the wagon and the chassis, etc. And it all comes apart very nice for maintenance as well. So the next part is assembling some items on the end and a few other bits. So we've got to take note of this drawer in here as well for putting on some hydraulic arms. So we'll do that next. Yeah, so the next bit is the hydraulic shovel arm, which stops the debris going over the edge when it stops. And you can see that you really have to study. You've got the hydraulic arms link to one of those bars going across there, and yeah, it's a very tricky little bit to get that in, and it gives you all the dimensions on the instructions. For doing it, that part there is a side elevation split. So yeah, that's done. Right, next stage is adding a lot of detail onto the wagon. You get the string as well for the conveyor belt area. So there's a lot of detail to put on next. Adding on, I think we've got to add on the conveyor belt first. Or the cab, sorry, the conveyor belt cab onto the thing, and then drop that down onto the main chassis, the actual upper section. There's quite a lot to it. we got the opportunity to paint the steel weight, which I think I'm going to do. I think I'm going to paint that yellow, but I really don't want that showing, so I'm going to put some paint over that carefully. That swivels, that's for the conveyor belt system. So yeah, I'm going to do that next. And I've cut most of the extra detail parts I've put in a little tub. And I might have that little guy, there's a little chap in here, which I'm probably going to put him in the driver's seat. He's the only guy I've got, so I'm going to paint him up a bit yellow maybe, with whatever, make him look a bit more respectable. Chop his legs off below the knees and stick him in the cab, and that's the only figure I've got. So that's the next stage. Right, so carrying on adding the detail in the ESU work cradle, so it's a lot easier to do it on its side, do one side at a time. Yeah, and I've also loaded up some images from Kibri, and these are really good images to give you an idea of where all the parts go, etc. Because the instructions, they're okay, but they're very sometimes it can be deceiving of where bits go properly, certain parts. So you're just taking it one step at a time, taking it nice and easy, not rushing this at all, because again I've got to add all the transfers, and there's quite a lot of transfers to add on this. But I cannot understand why this model is well over £100 to buy built, because it is quite a tricky model with a lot of detail. And the kit form, I think I paid about I think I paid around £40 for this kit. But bear in mind I had to buy the wheel set, so it is an expensive kit to build this wagon. And the kit is originally made and designed in 1991. It's been out for quite a long time, this kit. But yeah, it's looking good. Right, getting towards the completion of this model now, and just painting a driver to put inside a driver's cab. And what I've done is put all the stuff on a clipboard and highlighted all the parts I've fitted, or you know, that's how I think the best way for me is to do it. You got the string on the conveyor belt where it rises up, and you get a pre-cut, in case anyone's wondering. On this model you get a piece of pre-cut length to the correct length of string for that. Another thing is, there's quite a few alternative parts on this model, like especially the buffers. You got the buffers, there's two different types of buffers. There's the round, and these are the round ones, or you can have square ones. Obviously I'll put square ones in there. But yeah, there's alternative couplings. You can have display couplings, or you can put in your own type of couplings. There's a lot of leftover parts and spares, and there's quite a few leftover bits. Obviously they'll share the parts from other models. Yeah, so also you can customise the way it looks. You've got all these different makes you can put on the side. There's loads. Yeah, so you can really customise the side of it if you want. So yeah, it's been quite good. And what I've been using, Tamiya paints just for painting the driver, but highly recommend these Tamiya paint mixers. Tiny little spoon on one end and a flat splayed edge on the other. They're really good. You get a couple of them in a packet from Tamiya. Highly recommend these. They're really good for mixing up paints that have not been used for quite a long time. Right, so now the driver has been drying on there, so I'm going to take him off, put him in his cab, and then I'm going to position the top part, which I've added all the detail on where I can, because I didn't want to add the detail with the lower part of the main wagon on, because it'd be awkward. Although you can obviously put it in the ESU cradle. So before I do that, I'm going to fit on the conveyor belt, which rises up on the front. You've got to fit that on first before you put on this part. So that's all looking good. So that's the next bit. Right, so here it goes. I'm going to mount the top to the lower section, all the details done on that at both ends, drivers in the carb, etc. All the other bits. Virtually all the details have been added on here, so what I'm going to do now, that's in position, which is movable. So what I'm going to do is just add a small amount of glue to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 areas, and then mount the upper to the lower section. There we go, that's it, all done. So that's that part done. Quite a heavy wagon this actually. That all manoeuvres fine. So the next stage to do is add the rope system and pulleys to there. I think there's a few other bits. And that'll be it. Obviously the transfers have to be done. That's another quite a bit of messing around doing that, but yeah, it's looking really good. And I've got the display box for it as well, so I probably will add some other bits to it. Right, so done a lot of testing on this wagon, and just coming through the tunnel now. I've got some sharp radius curves in the tunnel, so now the conveyor belt is moving freely, and at the right height it'll swing. The support wagon will adjust the swing as it goes through the curves, and it won't hang over the edge. Without the support wagon, the conveyor belt will overhang. There's a lot of overhang on it, so the support wagon is pretty essential. So when it comes out the tunnel now, it should be lined up. Yeah, pretty much lined up. That's nice. It's all looking good. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it through the through another sharp degree of point work in a minute. So I'm just going to stop the Tiger locomotive. I'm also testing a Class 89 Fleischmann at the moment, which is coming around there. A tiny little tank loco. Probably just a superbly made and engineered model train that's made in Germany. It's probably 15-year-old, that loco now. It's digital, straight from the factory, but the workings of it and the weight is absolutely unbelievable. It really is a nice loco. There's no power pack on that, and it's running absolutely superb around all the complicated point work. Obviously with it being Fleischmann, running on Fleischmann track, that will run flawlessly. So that's just another. Right, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to stop this Tiger Loco in a minute. I'm going to stop this Tiger Loco about here, and then I'm going to change the point work on the junction. So next time the ballast loco will come through this point work, we'll just see what it looks like. It's got plenty of lighting at that far end now, so much. It makes a big difference having decent lighting over your model railway as best as possible. And what I'll do, I'll put the model number up, these lights that I'm using, and what they can do. Right, let's have a look at this coming through now. Just wait for it a minute. All the points are set. It's going to go through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sets of points here. Yeah. So out of the tunnel it comes. Let's see how it works now. I've not tried it on anything like this yet, so you can see that's bending with the support wagon. Support wagon's holding it in place. Now it's looking good. I might have to do one more tiny adjustment on the support truck, but other than that it's working. Very nice. Right, so here we have the finished kit. Well, it's not finished, it's probably 98% finished because I've got to add the transfers so you can customise it. Now I've added the extra wheels. The extra high quality wheels are made by Roco, and they're made for DC or AC current. DC current is 40 194 wheel sets, and you need 4 of them. And for AC, it's 40 195. I'll make a note of it in the description, but the wheel sets you get with it are really absolutely useless for working on your railway. These are for display purposes only. Because when you buy it in the kit, in the box like that, in my visions, it's a display model. It's not a proper working model until you put the proper wheel sets on. And yeah, but I bought this as a kit, and I bought the pre-built support wagon, which is essential to have with this wagon because this guides the conveyor belt around corners so it doesn't hang out, if you know what I mean. But you've got to really get this set up right. You've got to fine tune this for it to work round corners properly. I've had to sort of fine tune it, make sure everything is okay 100%. Put different type of string on the support wagon. I've actually boosted it up slightly on the height. I'm going to paint that in there because at first I thought there's something wrong and I chamfered the top of that back slightly, and I shouldn't have done it really. So anyway, I've manipulated it and added some bits on the top there, on top of that vice system, and that's it. That works now. Got working doors on the support wagon. That's pre-built, and of course that blinks on there, lift up, and then when you've got it stationary, you can have that move. That does actually move. You can have it in various positions, and you can fill it up with gravel. It's not a full working model, but it's really nice. I'm glad I've got it, but it was very tricky to put together. Very tricky. You've got to study the parts and make sure you don't make any mistakes when you're doing it. And yeah, the instructions are okay, but I do highly recommend downloading pictures from the Kibri website. As you can see on the monitor there, you can zoom in and out and get some really smashing detail of, you know, if you want to zoom into an area you're not sure about, you can do that. That's what I did as well. Of course, I bought the box, the dedicated box, which I'm going to try. I'm going to see if it fits inside here okay, so I'll label that up over when it's if it fits okay. Just hoping it will. It might not fit, I might have to do an adaptation on that box. But other than that, really happy with it. Right, so I've just got the storage box. I ordered a sort of standard length, extra long box for a locomotive really, and it's not really meant for a wagon like this, as the fixings are slightly different. Anyway, I've managed to do it. I managed to pre-drill. You can pre-drill these holes underneath, but none of these would line up, so I've had to pre-drill my own holes and carefully bring them up through the bogie into the bogie centre there. You've got to be careful of what screws you use for that, but other than that, that storage case works fine now, because that goes in no problem. Put the tight squeeze on the side there. A bit of a warp on it, I think. Let's have a look. There we go. So that fits very nice in there. I could probably put a bit of sponge or something to stop that moving around the conveyor belt. But that's a good storage box. So yeah, that's all done now.